Welcome to the Brownsville Minute, a community-conscious conversation and a platform that provides information, wellness, love, and unity all on a digital platform. And our goal is to try to make sure that our community residents are informed, conscious, and that we are connecting the dots on a virtual platform. The Brownsville Minute is designed for everyone. Please join us with the Brownsville Minute. Well, good evening, good people. Happy Thursday. It's almost the end of the week. I hope that you are all doing well, wonderful, that you are safe, sound, and sane. I want to just take a moment before my guest comes on just to kind of like give you all a brief hello and welcome to the Brownsville Minute. The Brownsville Minute is a platform where we have conscious conversations about the issues that impact residents of East Brooklyn, with a targeted focus specifically on Ocean-Hill Brownsville. Within this platform, we gear information to you, the resident, to you, the small business owner, to you, the community advocate, about topics that are important to you. Right now, we are in the midst of a number of different challenges that we are experiencing. One, namely health, one, namely finances, one, the impact of civic engagement within the community. And so, for the Brownsville Minute, as a part of our overall community enhancement, we've decided that we want to take it upon ourselves to promote the information that is relevant to the community. So my name is Anita Pierce, and I'll be your host. I'm also the producer of this show. I also run a small business called 11375, where we provide fundamental support and pretty much fill in the gap for small businesses, nonprofits. We are business consultants that help you get to your next level. We consider ourselves really strong in focusing on the fundamentals of business. And so if you are looking for that next level lift, please think of 11375. We will be happy to support you on your business journey at next level. And speaking of business, I know that at the last Brownsville Minute, we actually had very two dynamic speakers, one being Deshaun Mars of the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. And I wanted to just drop that information there because I know that there are a lot of small businesses that are looking to find free opportunities to be able to take advantages of some of the services that exist out there. So I'm going to actually put that up there. The New York City Small Business Resource Network, they have 101 consultations that you can take advantage of. This is definitely for free. Please sign up at New York Small Business Resource Network.org. Again, these are services in which you can tap into. There are of no cost to you as a small business owner. And even if you are looking to start a business, I always say tap into the resources that are free statewide, so that you can start the foundation before you actually hire someone like 11375 to get you on your next journey. I also wanted to mention as well about, just some other community updates. And again, this is for Brownsville, Brooklyn, but a lot of it is relevant across the spectrum. And so I wanted to promote, again, these are some local organizations that have opportunities. The Brownsville Community Justice Center is hiring. Please check out the number of opportunities that does exist. They do have opportunities that exist across the city, but they have, if you're looking to work in Brownsville, there's the link, that you can take advantage of. Please spread the word because there are very viable job opportunities that does exist. So just wanted to highlight those few things and wanted to welcome you all. If you are joining for the first time, hope you come back. But tonight we are going to be talking about, some changes within the election laws that does have impact, particularly in New York City, as we have a very hot mayoral race. We have a number of the positions that are open, comptroller, some at the council level as well. And so there are changes that definitely impact, how individuals are going to be voting for this year and going forward. So it is important for me, and, particularly with this broadcast, to make sure that information is shared in multiple different ways. And right now, since we are in a space where we are snuggled in behind a blanket with some hot cocoa, maybe today, this is a way for us to get out information. So ranked choice voting is a topic that I am excited to now learn about. I am not the expert, so I tapped into a number of resources that can provide us with very accurate information. And so our topic tonight we'll focus specifically on understanding ranked choice voting and how it impacts our community, specifically as the laws have changed. So I'm excited because I will be talking, but you will be getting a lot of information from my guest this evening. And so Debbie E. Lewis is a results-driven strategist whose career in organizing began over a decade ago. Debbie holds a master's degree in industrial organizational psychology with a specialization in leadership. Currently, Debbie is working on advocacy-based reform and serves as the educational trainer at Rank the Vote NYC. As a consultant, Debbie also works with several nonprofits and individuals to jumpstart their careers and programs, creating opportunities for them to be sustainable. So I am excited because we're going to really unpack, what ranked choice voting is. And please, if you have questions, I am monitoring the chat, and I want to thank those who are new to the Brownsville Minute. And hopefully you'll be able to get some information from here that you can learn. So I am excited to welcome our guest. Hey, Debbie.
Hey, how are you?
I am doing amazing now that you're here.
Thank you, love. I'm happy to be with all of you in the Brownsville Minute and talk about ranked choice voting.
So I always like to, do like some really light icebreakers. So your background is in industrial organizational psychology. That's what you went to school for. Like, tell us something that we don't know. And how are you actually using the degree? Because it seems like it's connected, but not really.
Exactly. And I say that all the time. I feel like I added a different component to it, kind of just doing more civic engagement and organizing. But industrial organizational psychology is really the study of how people operate in the workplace. And so there is a practical side and a theoretical side. And I'm not going to get into the psychology behind it, but honestly, it's more so of people and their behaviors at work. And I use that and apply it to organizing in this capacity, because you're able to tell how people receive information, what sticks, what doesn't stick, and how to maneuver what you're delivering to people.
Wow. So you saying that it's just that we really aren't that crazy as we may think. But yeah, so let's jump right into it. And thank you so much all who are tuning in live. But I just want to just jump right in because we are in a hot election season. There are so many races that are happening, particularly in New York City. But there was also some changes that some of our elected officials, the reform, it has changed. So now that this has happened, there's some layers. Like, for example, I know that the primaries used to be like in September. Now they're in June. So those little things have an impact on right now how we are voting. So ranked choice voting, what is it? Can you start with that?
Yeah. So ranked choice voting is a new electoral process, and you now have the option to vote or rank up to 5 candidates, including a write-in. And so if you still want to vote for one person, you can, but you have the option to rank up to 5 candidates for all the municipal elections.
That's
very basic. It's as simple as it sounds.
All right. So you're going to have to jump in and provide us with some more depth, because I think I'm still a little bit confused, Debbie.
Well, is it time for me to share?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let me share my screen and just pull up some slides.
Okay.
That'll help you out. And I always say this, the visual aspect of this really, really does help.
Okay.
So once I go through it, you'll be able to understand. All right, so a quick recap on the upcoming changes to our local elections. Due to a costly low turnout runoff election that was held for public advocate and comptroller, it prompted a debate over the use of runoff elections. So our current city council our former city council member, current Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer, introduced the first ranked choice voting bill. At that time, the Charter Revision Commission decided to hold multiple public hearings, hear from experts, and accept testimonies on a wide variety of issues before they presented RCV to voters November 2019. That passed with nearly 75% of the vote, and now we have our first RCV elections. So why are we here? Well, our campaign finance system is actually, it's really cool, right? And so the implementation of term limits has led to a wealth of diverse candidates who under the current system would risk splitting the vote. And now we're seeing an influx of candidates running for office because of our robust campaign finance system. And under the current system of voting, city council members are elected with a plurality, which simply means that a candidate can win with as little as 20% of the vote. That's not really healthy for our democracy, and it's not healthy for the elected official, because when they're going into office not having a majority of that voting block or that district support them. So what does this new electoral process tell us, and what is changing? So starting on January 1st, 2021, for all local primary and special elections, for city council, borough president, public advocate, and comptroller, and mayor, they're all ranked choice voting elections. So this is just for city elections, citywide seats, council seats. So no state races, no judicial, none of that. Runoffs are eliminated, and candidates will need to win with at least 50% plus one of the vote. So in order for us to have ranked choice voting elections, we must have multiple candidates so that we can rank. Voters will now have the option to rank up to 5 candidates, including a write-in if they choose. So here are some very, very important dates. The last day to register to vote is May 28th. Last day to change your address is June 2nd if you're already registered to vote. And we have early voting. So that's June 12th to June 20th. And all of the hours vary for early voting. So what is ranked choice voting? For voters, it's exactly what it sounds like. You are ranking your vote. You're ranking your candidates in order of preference. So your first choice is the candidate that you love. You would do GOTV, wear a hat, a button, a t-shirt. You want to see this person in office. You like them and they align with your values. Your second choice candidate, you can think about it this way. If your first choice candidate had to call off their campaign today, your second choice candidate would be or serve as your backup. And so fortunately enough for us in New York City, 3, 4, and 5 can serve as additional backups as well. But again, if you want to just vote for one candidate, you still can. So here is a very short video that just explains ranked choice voting.
Hi, I'm Mahir, and welcome to my bodega. As you may know, New York City has a new way to vote in special and primary elections. So, how does ranked choice voting work? The next time you vote in a city election, instead of choosing just one candidate, you can rank them all from your first choice to your 5th. Here's how it works. Let's say my bodega is picking its featured snack of the month. So many choices. Which one should I feature? This customer ranks Parker pretzels as her top favorite. She also ranks for second choice, Mr. Chips, third choice, Chi-Chi Chicharrones, fourth choice, Gladys Gummies, and fifth choice, Puppy Popcorn. Other customers rank their choices as well. If Parker Pretzels is the favorite choice and wins more than 50% of all the first-ranked choices, then Parker Pretzels is the winner and is featured as the snack of the month. However, if no snack gets more than 50%, then the least popular snack is eliminated. Sorry, Figgy Bars. The remaining second-ranked choices from customers who chose Figgy Bars are redistributed. So if customers chose chips and chicharrones as second choices, then those two snacks receive additional votes. The new totals are counted and the process repeats until there's a winner of the final two. Congrats, Puppy Popcorn, you're the bodega snack favorite. Back in the real world, before it's time to vote for humans, visit rankthevotenyc.org for more information. Thank you, New York City, for voting and for making these special and primary elections your elections.
So that was like a very, basic explainer, but I think it kind of brings it to the point, especially in New York City specific. This is a sample ballot. In New York City, we are going to have multiple page ballots or multi-page ballots, just because there are a lot of candidates. For the mayoral seat, I think there's like 30 candidates right now. So, there will be multiple pages. So, the ranked ballots will be on one side and the non-ranked ballots will be on another page. And the non-ranked ballots are for all the state races. So counting of rounds only kicks in if no candidate receives 50% plus one of the first choice votes. So if a candidate has clear majority, they are the unofficial winner. There's no rounds, there's no rankings. But if there is no one with this 50% plus one on election night, then we go into rounds and into rankings. And the official winner will not be declared until all votes are counted, including early, election day, affidavit, and all the absentee votes. And BOE will release all of this data round by round to the public. So why should voters use their rankings? You have more choice and more power. Before, it was either candidate A or B, and now you have the option to rank A, B, C, and D. So you have more choices, which means you have more power. And even if your favorite candidate doesn't win, you still have a say in who's elected. So you can finally vote your conscience without worrying that you're wasting your vote. And if a voter decides to use or rank a second or third candidate, that never hurts your favorite, your number one, because we're only looking at 2 and 3 when or if number one is eliminated. So here are some frequently asked questions. How many candidates do I rank? You can rank up to 5 candidates, as many or as few as you would like. Do I have to use all 5 rankings? No, your vote will still count if you only rank one or a couple of candidates, but your ranked choice voting ballot will work as hard for you as long as it can. But if your candidates are eliminated because you only put 1 or 2, then your ballot will be exhausted. Can I rank a candidate more than once? It actually doesn't help your favorite candidate to do that. We're not using a supercharged system or power vote. So ranking someone more than once actually just complicates the whole process. You have to fix your ballot. If you're doing this through the mail and you don't know that you made that mistake early enough, that can also invalidate your ballot. So, just using your rankings appropriately or just voting for your one, however you choose, is the best way to do this. Does it hurt my favorite candidate to have a second choice? No, simply because we're only looking at 2 and 3 if one is eliminated. But if one is not eliminated, then your second and third choices won't be looked at. So here is the RCV essentials to remember. I really tell people if they're wearing a mask or they have 2 minutes or less to talk to someone in the general public, these are the best talking points to use because it's simple and it's straight to the point. So starting in 2021, New York City voters will have the option to rank their top 5 candidates in our local primary and special elections for mayor, comptroller, public advocate, borough president, and city council. And if voters still want to vote for one candidate, they still can. And the why for RCV, it equals more power for voters. So you don't need to worry about wasting your vote, splitting the vote, someone being elected with less than a majority, or someone being accidentally elected without you actually liking this person. So here's our contact information. Rank the Vote NYC is here as a resource. We have material in over 13 languages on the website, and you can tag us on anything Rank the Vote NYC online. And yeah, the website is full of materials that are easily downloadable and can be shared in any community. So that is about it.
You made it easy and digestible.
I keep telling people, because people like to complicate things. I think this is a very simple process, although it takes time to understand sometimes. If you keep, regurgitating the information or looking at it, it's easy to get.
So yeah, I actually just I'm looking through the chat to kind of like see if there are any questions or additional questions that are needed. So I'm actually I always like to bring in the live audience. Tamika Victory says, I understand it now. Thanks. So which means that there are no additional, but I'm looking because we're in this virtual space. I want to make sure to allow for time for typing.
Yeah.
So I can ask while folks may be thinking about it. So in your presentation, you mentioned that this is only for city elections. Is there any reason, do you know why this isn't statewide for the state elections? And this is just your personal opinion, doesn't have to be
the official. Yeah, so no one picked it up statewide. There are some conversations, I have heard some things, but there's opportunity for that to happen. But I think this is a good space for it to also happen. The conversation started because the city lost out on millions due to that special election. And so it took them a while to recover. And so this was the first place where, and the city budget is smaller than the state budget. So I think that's one of the reasons why, this helps, especially for such a historical election like we're going through right now. I don't think people understand how historical this is going to be. It's literally going to be in the books. Almost every single seat is up. It's a lot happening in the city right now.
And so I'm curious, right? Because as we are, listening to folks within various underserved communities, we're in the midst of a pandemic. How do we change, or not really change, because that's not really the word that I'm looking for, but make sure that we inform our community residents who have been traumatized from this and from that? Like, how do we know that this is real? That's essentially what I want to ask.
How do we know that ranked choice voting is real?
Right, that this is what, because you got to understand that most communities that we are presenting in, typically either they're not actively voting, which we're encouraging a lot of civic engagement different ways, but then we're in the midst of a pandemic and it's like, oh, we have a change. So can you at least talk to that in terms of, the misconceptions and the perceptions of what changes have happened right now in the midst of this global pandemic?
Yeah, I think right now it's so important for people to be civically engaged or active. I think a lot of things that happened in 2020 have allowed people to, and for lack of better terms, I hope I can say this here, but be woke, right? And so they're woke in many different ways, not just like be Black and be woke, but what's happening and who is accountable for certain things that's happening in my city. And people usually just focus on presidential, gubernatorial races, things of that sort, but they don't understand how important these smaller races are, because it really affects how you live on a day-to-day basis. So understanding this process, learning how to use it and implementing it, and then, holding the people accountable who are elected into office to really make a difference in your communities, especially one like Brownsville, is important. I spent my early teenage years in Brownsville. I got my first job in Brownsville, and I worked in Brownsville for like 8 years. And so I understand and I see the changes that have happened. I'm grateful for that. But, from looking at who was in office or who was, in charge of certain things, to now, it makes a big difference. And I think that's why people should really dive into understanding the electoral process on a very basic level.
So I definitely appreciate you answering that, because it is important, just having a real perspective as this whole process, and attempting to minimize some of the myths, and, just putting out information so that people within all communities can process it the best way they can. So the goal with this platform, because I actually had a chance to see this, a similar presentation probably about a month ago. And in that process of seeing it, I had no clue. And then it became important just for me, just to kind of say, well, someone else needs to gets this information too, to try to, minimize some of the myths and the misinformation that typically goes through our community. So I definitely appreciate, you taking the time to share, and definitely for me, the snacks was what took it for me.
That's what takes it for me too.
Yeah, I love snacks. So I'm looking at the chat. I know folks are really quiet, so I'm trying to just look through to see if there's any follow-up questions or anything else that you want to say to close out. Because again, I don't like to keep folks if we don't need to.
Yeah, so I just want to say, Rank the Vote NYC is here as a resource. What we're trying to do right now is get everyone educated. So if you know a group, a building, a senior center, community center, a block, whatever it is, someone that needs training, we're happy to do so. We're happy to come out and pass out materials in a socially distant style. So yes, please just reach out.
And so for those who are interested in having Debbie and her team come to your community virtually, Debbie's information is scrolling down at the bottom. It's to contact Debbie, please email education@rankthevote.org. And just like here, we'll be able to saturate the information and be able to have our community informed about ranked choice voting and our responsibility overall to be civically engaged. So I don't see any more questions, Debbie. And again, I don't want to keep you. And so for you, I would say thank you so much for joining the Brownsville Minute. Look forward to having you come back on again, perhaps again, before the election, if your schedule permits, but definitely as an ongoing relationship and a friend of the Brownsville Minute. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Appreciate you, and be well.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. And so the beauty about, this platform is that, we try to keep it like sweet, informative, because we also know that this is a live broadcast, but at your leisure, you can watch it. But I just wanted to put out, again, some wonderful reminders that if you are looking to have someone come to your community to provide specific information to residents that you may know, students, please reach out to Debbie at education@rankthevotenyc.org. And so on that note, I love to, take time to be able to share additional community updates. For those who may have missed the Brownsville Minute, the last episode, we had Deshaun Mars who is the Senior Director of Business Recovery at the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. And if you need any resources as a small business owner, please reach out to Deshaun. His contact information is dmars@brooklynchamber.com. And you can let Deshaun know that you actually saw his name mentioned, or you saw the show, and that will be here. I also, because we are in this space where we are sharing information, I just wanted to just publicly say again, thank you for joining. Please check out the brownsvillebk.org. This is the Brownsville Minute, but there is a community website where you have an opportunity to be able to find out additional events within a community, post if you have a small business or other resources. Please check out brownsvillebk.org. It's still in its development stage, but it is live and active. And also, at our next Brownsville Minute on April the 28th, we're actually going to be doing a community training and highlighting the brownsvillebk.org website. So, that's an opportunity to learn about how the website will be used within a community, and also to ask questions of the designer and also of those who will be adding information to that site. In addition, wanted to just put up some other plugs that the Brownsville Community Justice Center is hiring. Please check out Brownsville opportunities at the Center for Court Innovation. Apply to the jobs. They have jobs not just in Brownsville, but citywide. However, if you're looking to serve within the communities either that you're from or that you know of someone else, please be sure to do so. And finally, I have an opportunity to serve and to wear a number of different hats. And this particular is the Brownsville Neon. It's a group of stakeholders that help to provide resources to those who are justice involved and also not justice involved. We have a meeting every fourth Wednesday of each month. So if you are interested in being a community stakeholder, we meet once a month and would love to have you. So that's the Brownsville Neon. That's the link in which you can join the meeting. So again, as I mentioned, I wear a number of different hats. And specifically in running a business, I think it's really important to stay connected with your local elected officials. So I have an opportunity, because my business is certified as a minority women business enterprise, both at the state and also the city level, to be able to have interactions with our state legislators. And so once a month, Senator James Sanders has a meeting that is specific to small businesses, MWBEs. And what I'm encouraging all of you who are either thinking about being a part of a small business, have a small business, to make sure that you engage with your local elected officials. As Debbie mentioned, a lot happens at the state level. Like, we always look at the president. Yes, there is impact, but more impact happens when we are dealing with our local elected officials. So I want to encourage you that if you are interested in participating on a monthly event with Senator Sanders' office, it's during the midday. It's a lunch hour meeting. Please reach out to me. I'll put my information. Well, actually, you can take the information as there, Anita at 11375.com, and I'll be happy to add you to that list to meet up with Senator Sanders' office at the state level in New York to focus and strategize as to how small businesses can, do better, gain access to capital, and also to be able to network with other small businesses. So on that note, I want to thank you. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Antonio, for supporting this evening. Very much appreciate you all. So on that note, I want to say thank you for joining the Brownsville Minute. We look forward to seeing you again on April the 28th, where we are going to be focusing in on the Brownsville BK website. Thank you, Miss Roxanne. We appreciate you supporting. Appreciate you. And so I'm going to share some community announcements, things that you could take advantage of. And thank you again for joining. This is the Brownsville Minute, and we appreciate you. We thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Welcome to the Brownsville Minute, a community-conscious conversation and a platform that provides information, wellness, love, and unity all on a digital platform. And our goal is to try to make sure that our community residents are informed, conscious, and that we are connecting the dots on a virtual platform. The Brownsville Minute is designed for everyone. Please join us with the Brownsville Minute.
This is